Okay, fifth graders. So once again, we are going to be continuing to look at different explorers and their routes of exploration to the New World. Okay, if we remember back on Monday, we were looking at the explorer Jacques Cartier, and today we are looking at Francisco Vasquez de Coronado. All right. So with that being said, let's go ahead and look at the questions that we'll need to answer today. All right, so again, just like the last multiple times that we've been looking at explorers, we'll have some different information to answer here. And it's going to be the same type of information. So you'll need to list at least 2 interesting facts about Francisco Coronado and his personal background. You'll need to figure out who sponsored his voyages and when he began exploring and what year his explorations ended. And then you'll also need to make sure you give a reason or a motivation that Francisco Coronado explored. And then finally, once again, you will be drawing a couple of different things here. He'll draw his routes to the New World, all right, and his routes of exploration. And then you will look at what impacts did he have when he went on these explorations. And you'll circle the impacts that you believe he had. All right, so with that being said, we are going to go ahead and hop into the chapter, okay, and see if we can find some of this information. And also, before we go ahead and continue this chapter, I just wanted to once again point out you can use Britannica Kids to help you answer some of these questions, okay? But again, let's go ahead and start with this section here. And we are going to read through the whole section and then highlight important information. And in the end, we will come back to those questions and see if our information we found helped us answer those. Okay, so section 5.7, Francisco Vasquez de Coronado. So Spain's rulers gained wealth and power from their land claims in Mexico and South America. And it's important to think about how we're working with Spain's rulers. Okay? So they wanted more land in North America. In 1540, this is an important date here, in 1540, hundreds of Spanish conquistadors marched north from Mexico under the command of Francisco Vasquez de Coronado. Alrighty, and again, that is the explorer that we are looking at today. Okay, and again, we saw that it's Spanish conquistadors, and it was Spain's ruler that wanted them to go on these, go on this exploration here. So Coronado had come to America to seek glory and fortune. He wants glory and fortune. Although he was a nobleman at birth, and that's a little bit of his personal background, knowing that he was a nobleman. He was a nobleman by birth. His brother had inherited most of his family wealth. Coronado paid for his expedition with money from his rich wife and the viceroy or governor of Mexico. All right, so we know that Spain wanted him to go on this exploration here. But we also see that Coronado paid for his expedition with money from his rich wife. So we'll underline that, knowing that it was actually his rich wife and the viceroy or governor of Mexico who paid for this exploration here. Okay. So a priest had told Coronado that he had seen one of the 7 cities of gold in Cibola, modern-day New Mexico. The Spanish had heard that the 7 cities were as rich as the Aztec Empire in gold. All right, so once again, he's excited about this gold. He wanted to seek glory and fortune, and so he heard that these 7 cities were as rich as the Aztec Empire in gold, so he wanted to go there. So Coronado marched to Cibola. He found Indian pueblos, but no gold. Scouts looked further. They had found the Grand Canyon and the Rio Grande Valley, but no gold. Still dreaming of gold, Coronado listened to an Indian slave. The slave told of a land where boats with golden eagles sailed past trees hung with golden bells. To find this land, Coronado marched across the plains to what is now Kansas. So we know he marched along across the plains to what is now Kansas. And we can see that if we look at this map as well, looking at his exploration, that he did go that way towards Kansas there. And again, he found no gold. Angry, Coronado had the Indian strangled before heading home. And that's important information to note as well, that he had the Indian strangled before heading home. That helps us understand what impacts he had here. And then Coronado and his men returned in disgrace to New Spain in 1542. And again, if we looked at these dates here, we saw in the beginning that his first voyage, or his first march here, was in 1540. And now we know that it ended in 1542. So we'll circle that here. Representatives of the Spanish king later charged him with bad leadership of the expedition and treating the Indians cruelly. All right. So we know that he treated the Indians cruelly. Okay, and they did not appreciate. They thought he had bad leadership of this expedition. Only the Spanish missionaries considered Coronado's expedition successful. It gave them a chance to convert Indians in the southwestern part of North America to Christianity. Okay, so they converted Indians in the southwestern part of North America to Christianity. Okay, so that is the section on Francisco Coronado. So let's see if we can go back to our questions then and look back at the chapter and see if we found the information needed to answer them. Okay, so once again we had to list 2 interesting facts about Coronado's personal background. And if we look back at the chapter, we see that Coronado is a nobleman. All right, he was a nobleman at birth. And we also see in Britannica lots of good information about him prior to when he became an explorer here. So he was born to a noble family, like we said, in about 1510. Okay, and there's lots of other good information there about his personal background. All right, and then give a reason or a motivation that he explored. Well, let's go ahead and check back in the chapter and see. All right, so he wanted to seek glory and fortune, as we see here. That is the main thing that he wanted to do. He kept going to different places, as we see, such as he wanted to go to Cibola, or modern-day New Mexico, thinking that there was a lot of gold there. All right, in the Aztec Empire, or well, he thought that it was similar to the Aztec Empire, but it turned out to not be. Okay, so that is his motivation, or the reason that he came to that he wanted to do these explorations. And then what route of exploration did Francisco Coronado take? Well, let's go ahead and look back. So we see that they marched across the plains to what is now Kansas. Okay, and they found the Grand Canyon and the Rio Grande Valley. Okay, and then we also can see on this map here the exact routes that he took. Okay, so he again went up to Kansas. Okay, lots of stuff there that'll help us answer that question. And finally, what impact did Francisco Coronado have? Well, let's go back and see here. What impact did he have? Well, we see that he did mistreat Native Americans. Okay, he had an Indian strangled. They charged him because he treated the Indians cruelly, and they wanted to convert Indians in the southwestern part of North America to Christianity. Okay. We also see that he did lots of good things to help with making of maps. Okay, so he found these different areas that they were able to then map because of him. Alright, so those are a couple of impacts that he had. He provided that information for new maps, and he also mistreated or killed native people. Okay? So hopefully going through that section helped us answer these questions here. And again, you can use Britannica and go through the section again to help you answer these questions. But that is it for today. We'll see you next time.